Hello, family. What's good? We back with another YouTube video. About to make a banger with this one. So this is the long-awaited by like nobody. The long-awaited summer breakdown. I've been hinting at this now for a little bit, and this is just gonna be the official breakdown of what my summer is gonna be like, where I will be, the programs I'll be doing, and yeah, basically just how I'm gonna be spending my summer. So, getting into this, I'll be part of, I'll say like 3 programs this summer. So I'll be doing research here. I got into this medical school program here, and I'll be doing a remote internship with this company. So it sounds like a lot, but fortunately for me, it all works out perfectly in terms of the timelines, the commitments, and like really a blessing how I'm hopefully going to be able to use one summer productively through like all of these things. But yeah, let's go one by one. I think a good starting point will be, let's go with the lab. So as you guys know, I'm a neuroscience student. I'm going into my junior year. So one thing that I haven't done, which is like low-key bad, especially because I go to UT, which is like a top-tier research school, is I haven't done like an official research lab yet. So like going, like one of the big decisions of, or one of the big deciding factors of why I decided on going to UT in the first place was because I wanted to do research at UT, and UT Austin has like a really cool program called FRI, which is like Freshman Research Initiative, and so they basically like pair like so many freshmen, like a large amount of freshmen, as opposed to like other schools with these already established research labs, and they integrate them really well, giving them this like this opportunity for continued research starting their freshman year. So like it's a huge opportunity. Unfortunately for me though, going into my freshman year, I didn't select like the class I needed. I didn't know that I had to be in a specific class to get into it's called FRI, and so I kind of like destroyed my chances of getting in first semester. Anyways, unfortunately for me, I applied my freshman semester, my very first semester, and I didn't get in, but I got into this other program that got me automatic admission into FRI. So it was like I didn't get in, but I got in. Anyways, I had already made my schedule by this point, so by the time that I figured out I was able to get into this lab, the lab required me dropping like one of like the necessary classes I needed to stay on track for my degree. So I ended up having to reject the lab, which is so sad because it was super cool. It was also a neuro lab related to what I wanted to do, so it was super cool, but unfortunate. Anyways, that program was like super cracked, and I felt like I got behind because a lot of my peers did it, and like they continued it into their sophomore years, doing like research their spring semester, their freshman year, going to fall and spring their sophomore year. So I kind of got stuck behind. So that led me down the path of finding my own research lab, which is a lot harder and a lot more inconvenient. Anyways, last semester, fall semester of my sophomore year now, I'm like on my own, like trying to find these labs, and I come across this lab right here. As you guys know, I'm like a neuroscience major, and like my interest specifically is in like neural engineering, things that have to do with like integrating tech, neuroscience. Basically, like my dream is to like basically make a cyborg part that like functions with, like, let's say like somebody were to get their arm cut off, or let's say they're disabled in some sense or another. Like I want to be able to make something that can convey electrical signals back into motor function, which is super cool. But on campus, reaching out to the professors that did those labs was extremely hard. I actually had my first neuroscience class last semester, and I actually even asked my professor to reach out to the professor who run like one of the most related labs to what I wanted to do. And I basically all but got told I'm a bot. Like I'm not even qualified one bit. I didn't have any research under my belt. I was a sophomore with with a neuroscience degree, but I didn't have the BME skills to get into the lab. I wasn't an engineer, and so that like hurt my chances really bad. So anyways, I tried to go on campus, find labs for this upcoming year, and it didn't work out, so I had to pivot. From there, we go back home to Dallas. So I'm like, okay, I can't find a lab in Austin. I live in Dallas. Like, what's the word? How do I make something shake? So I start reaching out to UTSW labs, I started researching these UTSW labs, UT Southwestern, and I find this one neuroengineering lab under Dr. Nan Li. I see all these videos about like oh, like, how do you get into these labs, how do you connect? And I was like, bro, like, it seems so low chance, but I'm like, let me take the shot. I email her, and boom, like, immediate response, like, very, very fast response, super fortunate. And she's like, let's set up a one-on-one meeting. So I do my little research, I read a couple papers, abstracts, and I set up the one-on-one meeting, and I like started talking to her about the research and how it like piqued my interest and what I really want to do, how it's related. So anyways, after some time, we set up a couple meetings, and bam, I secured like a research spot on her team for the summer. Following that, I think I kind of secured that near the end of last semester, or the beginning of this past semester, so like December, January, that time frame. And after that, I just kind of chilled and like tried to make sure that I was like set for the spot. It was kind of scary approaching the lab because I was like applying for internships and stuff as well, in the meantime, just in case like things didn't work out, because there was some kerfuffle and just some like how do I say this? There was some misalignments of official parameters or something. I don't know. Something of that nature. Anyways, these like little minuscule things about like applying for like research credit, because UTSW isn't like directly UT Austin. So anyways, these little like things that I thought were negligible were kind of playing an important factor in me being like properly onboarded into the lab. But fortunately enough for me, I started my first week this week. I just finished my second day today, so it's like been pretty cool talking to Dr. Li in person, meeting the team. Everyone there is like super cool, all PhDs, which is like cracked, but they all do this for real. And I'm just a little noob undergraduate, but I'll get up there. I'm just trying to onboard myself properly, like do some more research on my own and like understand what the project is before I really get into it. And meanwhile, while I'm like trying to understand the lab, it's just a lot of like self-research, getting up to speed on what they've already done, where they're at on their projects. Surprisingly, a lot of self-teaching of software. Like I'm trying to like learn some applications like MATLAB, but I already knew a little bit of that. MATLAB, an imaging technology they use called AFNI, and then something called ITK Snap. But those are just some like negligible details. And that's that. We're just starting, so I'm definitely going to be making content on the lab, hopefully this summer. Like this first half of like the summer, like this whole like May month is kind of just me getting up to speed and like probably doing a lot of like desk research and stuff. But hopefully I think like July-ish is when we start. And you're probably wondering why July and not June, and that's where this bad boy comes in. So if you're not from Texas, you're not going to be familiar with this program called JAMP. Is a crazy early admission program that's in Texas, and basically they pick like a cohort of students each year. Basically they're like, okay, just keep decent grades, get a decent MCAT, and you're set for med school. So it's a crazy opportunity. JAMP is basically a program started by Texas legislature to basically help people from less privileged backgrounds to get into medicine. It's an early admission program that you apply to in your early sophomore, late freshman year. So I think applications opened up for this new cohort for the freshmen. So it's like they have until like September, October, that timeline to kind of finish their application. Anyways, it's so crazy because like the way that I heard about this program was my freshman year. I think it was like my first 2 weeks. I was playing at one like the local recreation like turf field. I was literally playing soccer, and this like girl, I think she was a PhD or a master's student, she told me about JAMP, and it was like really random. So the fact that I even heard about this program is crazy. One thing that I found out recently is that like this program is super good, which I already explained, but a lot of people don't apply because they don't hear about it. So like this is not even like an advertisement, even though it sounds like it is. But if you're in Texas and you're thinking about being pre-med and you have like doubts about how you're gonna get there, this program is super cool. I'll drop a link to like a website or something in the description. But yeah, this program is super cool. It really does like help people like me, because like I've always wanted to pursue medicine, but it was kind of something that like I had doubts about, just because of like I'm a first gen student. I don't know anyone in my family who's a doctor. I don't have like any family friends who are doctors, so it's like the barrier to entry is like very high. But this program just really works to like knock that barrier down. So you just kind of have to do the work, and you're not too tasked with figuring out the whole pathway on your own. Anyways, another crazy story. So initially I applied like everybody else. I got fortunate enough to get to the interview stage. I interviewed. I got super fortunate because I'm Ethiopian, and the med school student who interviewed me was Ethiopian and lived like in a city 10 minutes from me. And then the doctor, who's a neurosurgeon, who I'm definitely gonna connect with because I need to like keep that connection there, was also Ethiopian. So like the odds of that happening were insane. So it was super laid back conversation, and you know, they just got to know me, I got to know them, asked a little bit more about the program. They told me about what the program does, and it was super fortunate for me to even be in that like type of circumstance for such an important interview. So we finished the interviews, I think sometime around January, like mid-January, late January, and they tell us you'll hear back from us in late March. So the month of February, I'm not really thinking about it too much. I really applied to this with no expectations, because like I don't like having expectations, because then you kind of just leave room for yourself to get let down. And I was like, you know what, if I get in, I get in. If not, nothing changes. You know, the plan is still there. But let's see what happens. You know, like why not take the shot? So I'm waiting. The day comes and decisions come out. And mind you, coming up to this decision, I really didn't even know about this like type of admission into the program. But when I opened the email, it says, "Thank you for applying. You've been granted the alternative position." I'm like, alternative? What does that mean? So I get the alternative position, and I'm not really knowing what does alternative even mean. And I tried to do my research, and there's literally nothing on the internet. Mind you, like I mentioned earlier, this program is only in Texas. On top of that, there's only about 100 to 150 people who get in each cohort, so that's not a very big there's not a very big population. So like the amount of resources online about this program was not very much. I checked the website, found very minimal information, and I didn't know anybody who applied, so and got this type of like admittance. So I'm like kind of lost. So I eventually meet with the coordinator of JAMP at our school, and she breaks it down. She's like, so basically you're like a runner-up. You're ranked out of 4 other people who also got the alternative position. I don't know where you stand, and I don't know if you're ever gonna get to the program, because how the alternative admission works is you essentially get in if anybody from anywhere in the JAMP program drops out. So I was basically betting on somebody, not betting, but like, and not hoping. I wasn't hoping anybody dropped out, but my admission into JAMP as an official scholar depended on somebody leaving the program. So it was a really hard spot for me, because I was like, this is something I was like really praying for super hard. I was like, you know, I was kind of at like a crossroads, like, is this even possible to go to med school? So something I prayed about super hard, and I'm like, I got an alternative position. What are the odds that I don't get a no, but I don't get a yes? So I'm like, you know, God has a plan. I'll just wait this one out. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it wasn't meant to be. So, you know, it approaches that time. Finals are coming around. Start locking in for exams. And I'm literally chilling in my bed one morning when I get a call from a 512 number. And if you're not from Texas, Austin area code is 512. So I'm like, who could this be? So the fact that I got admitted this early into the process, before the first summer even started, was insane, like extremely unlikely. Anyways, I'm in my bed. I'm on my bed standing up. I'm like, ah. And so, like, you know, try to get back calm, try to like get my composure. I'm like, yes, like, bro, how could I pass up this opportunity? It was crazy. So from there until now, I got briefed on the program, and I learned a lot about like what else it offers. So some really cool things that JAMP offers is they offer like more scholarship. They offer a free MCAT course with a program called Jack Weston, which will help me like prepare for my MCAT throughout the summer. And it's like super structured. And as somebody who didn't even start thinking about how I was going to prepare for MCAT, this was like probably one of the most valuable things that I'm getting out of this, and one of the like most surprising things that I didn't know I was going to get out of it. And then lastly, and most importantly, that I'm going to highlight on the video is the summer internships. So each summer, JAMP assigns you to a random one of the 14 medical schools here in Texas, and they basically give you a 1 month long internship, part online and part in person, where you get to go and like visit these medical schools, and you're basically living the life of a medical school student. So this summer, I'm gonna be in Houston for about like 2.5 weeks, and then like the other like days of that month-long period will be online. And so I'm really excited. I'm gonna go to the university, I think it's Tilman J Fertitta, the College of Medicine at UH. And so I'm super excited for this opportunity. Like, it's gonna be super cool. I'm gonna be meeting students from all around Texas, people that also go to UT Austin, and I'm gonna be literally like sampling the life of a med school student. We're gonna be taking med school level courses under med school professors in the med school, and then we're gonna do a lot of like clinical activities. And I hope there's not like any I hope they're not too restrictive. Of course, there's like a level of professionalism that I have to maintain. So with that in mind, I'm gonna have to like consider where I can and can't be recording. But like, this is a really, really big and rare opportunity, so I really hope I can document it like just for myself. And if anybody else like is even considering joining, I feel like, Jam, if you watch this video, it's like a great advertisement for you. Like, you know, like if I can record some stuff without it hurting my professionalism, that'd be amazing. So that pretty much wraps up what I'm looking to be doing with JAMP this summer. And then last but not least is my remote internship with these people down here. So basically, this is like a remote internship that I communicated with like the lead dentist at this at like Healthy Smiles. It's like a local dentist here in like Austin, Texas. I said here, like I'm in Austin. I'm in Dallas actually, but in Austin, it's like around Austin area. And yeah, I'll basically be like applying some like skills that I learned in this online course I took this year called AI engineering, and like basically trying to use AI to help simplify like a lot of their like dental processing tasks. So it's a lot more on like the more like work side, but I need money this summer, so gotta get it done. But yeah, that would be a lot more like a kind of like solo. I'm kind of like leading myself in that project. I don't have too much like guidance in terms of what I should be doing. Like I'll be researching, developing the agent on my own, and then like just communicating with the Dr. Matthias, which is like the person that I'm like working with on this project. So yeah, that's basically what I'm gonna be doing this summer. I'm really excited. I think this will be a super fruitful summer. Some goals that I have outside of those programs, which is like, I'm just trying to figure out how will I have the time for this. Get in the gym. I'm gonna start reading consistently again. I already started that, so I'm like really focused on maintaining focus. That's one thing I'm really adamant about mastering. I've been watching like a lot of content and consuming a lot of content about like the neuroscience behind focus, and it's like recently like piqued my interest. Like as a neuroscience student, you know, it's like within my field, but it's not something that you hear a lot about in like coursework and curriculum. So that's definitely one of the cooler applications. I feel like neuroscience is super diverse and where you can see it, where it can be applied. So yeah, I'll definitely be doing a lot of reading. Not only reading books, but like as a pre-med and like hopefully a future doctor, reading papers. That's like something that I don't hear too much about starting as a habit. Yeah, and then, you know, as the summer goes on, making content. Like that's like one of the goals that, you know, we gotta keep going with it. And this is a summer that I don't want to forget about. Like I'm definitely going to be like recording this so I don't forget what I'll be doing this summer. It'll be cool because I think maybe this can help, you know, somebody out there who watches my videos. It can like serve as like some type of roadmap, even though I don't think myself as too much of like a teacher, but I can at least serve as some type of guidance, you know, some type of example.
So yeah, this is definitely gonna be an exciting summer, and I can't wait to see what it brings. And yeah, that's basically it. So thank you guys for watching. You can go watch my previous videos, and I'll be uploading a video soon about a cool trip I did.